eyes had trouble focusing, like they didn't want to believe what I was seeing. Maybe the camera was lagging, but there she was. Same woman, same yellow coat and black bag. Entered the northbound platform 6 at 1:13 a.m. The thing is, I could not find her on any camera leaving the subway system. Nothing on the street stairs cameras, nothing for the elevator cameras, nor the employee hallways, not even the emergency doors. She must have found some blind spot. Was it intentional? I decided to review the feed from 24 hours previously. There she was. Same time, but same clothes. Exact same path. That's when I noticed it. The people behind her. They looked familiar too. I compared the two time periods. Same people, same clothes, and exact same paths. They were moving like this recording was copied and pasted. But then one of them stopped in the middle of the crowd and looked directly up into camera 14. The overnight shift at the transit security office was usually dead. Most nights, nothing happened except drunks sleeping on benches, maintenance alarms tripping for no reason, or the occasional fight on a late train platform. The city above never really slept, but underground after midnight felt different. Quieter. Like the station itself was holding its breath. I'd worked subway security for almost 8 years by then, long enough to know every blind spot in the system, every broken escalator, every camera that flickered when the tunnels got damp. By 1 a.m., the control room usually settled into a rhythm, monitor feeds cycling endlessly across the wall, platform cameras, entry gates, maintenance corridors, dozens of silent views from stations spread beneath the city. I sat with stale coffee and half-finished paperwork glowing under the desk lamp while rain hammered the streets somewhere far above us. That was when camera 14 caught my attention. Northbound platform 6. The image looked normal at first. Empty tracks, wet concrete, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. Then movement entered frame. A woman in a yellow coat, black shoulder bag, walking slowly down the platform toward the far tunnel entrance. I barely looked twice, until the timestamp hit 1:13 a.m. Something about it felt familiar. I leaned closer to the monitor. The woman disappeared past one of the support columns near the end of the platform, and never came back out. I frowned and checked the adjacent camera feeds. No sign of her on the stairwell cameras. Nothing at the turnstiles, no exit feed. Maybe the camera lagged. Wouldn't have been the first time. Camera 14 was old. The whole station was old. Half the wiring down there probably dated back to the 70s. I rewound the footage 30 seconds, watched it again. Same woman, same yellow coat, same black bag, walking at the exact same pace. She passed the column. Gone. I switched to camera 12 covering the employee corridor nearby. Empty. Camera 9 at the emergency stairwell. Nothing. No movement anywhere. I sat back slowly. People didn't just disappear inside the subway system, not without setting off alarms. The radios crackled softly beside me. A dispatcher somewhere discussing track maintenance downtown. Normal chatter. Normal noise. I told myself that's all this was, a glitch. But something about the footage bothered me enough that I opened archived recordings from the previous night, just to compare. The file loaded. 1:13:07 a.m., camera 14. And there she was again. Same woman, same yellow coat, same black bag, walking the exact same path. My stomach tightened. Not similar. Not close. Exact. Same posture, same stride, even the way her coat swayed matched perfectly. I stared harder at the screen, then noticed the people behind her. 3 passengers entering frame near the stairwell. A tall man in a dark jacket, a woman carrying a white umbrella, another guy with headphones, moving together down the platform. And suddenly my eyes had trouble focusing, because they weren't moving naturally. They moved like the footage had been copied and pasted over itself, perfectly repeated motions, same steps, same timing, like the recording itself was looping. Then one of the men stopped walking, right in the middle of the crowd. Slowly, he turned his head and looked directly up into camera 14. I froze. The other passengers kept moving around him normally, but he stood completely still, watching the camera, watching me. Then the feed cut to static for half a second. When the image returned, the platform was empty. I didn't tell anyone about the footage at first, mostly because I knew how it sounded. 8 years working transit security teaches you one thing fast. If you report every strange thing you see underground, people stop taking you seriously real quick. So I kept replaying the footage alone, over and over. The same timestamp, 1:13 a.m. Same woman in the yellow coat, same passengers behind her, same exact movements. And every time, the man in the crowd stopped and looked directly into camera 14, like he knew someone was watching. By 2 a.m., I'd gone through 6 previous nights of archived footage. Every recording was identical, not similar, identical. Same shadows, same reflections on the wet floor. Even the flicker from one of the fluorescent lights happened at the exact same frame every night, like the system wasn't recording live video anymore, like it was replaying the same moment repeatedly. I rubbed my eyes hard and leaned back in the chair. The control room suddenly felt smaller, the monitors louder. Rain tapped faintly against the ventilation ducts overhead while static hissed softly through the radio beside me. Then camera 14 flickered again, just once. My eyes snapped back to the monitor. The platform was empty now. No passengers, no woman, nothing except wet concrete and fluorescent lights. Then movement appeared near the far tunnel entrance. A figure, standing perfectly still at the very edge of the frame. Too far away to make out clearly, but I could tell immediately it wasn't part of the repeated footage. This was different. The timestamp was current, 1:47 a.m. The figure stood half hidden in darkness near the maintenance gate beyond platform 6. I zoomed the feed slightly. The image degraded into grainy static, but I could still make out the outline of a person, tall, motionless, facing the camera. A cold feeling crawled slowly up my neck. Platform 6 wasn't supposed to be active that late. Northbound service ended almost 40 minutes earlier. Nobody should have been down there. I grabbed the desk microphone. "Control to Patrol Unit 2, I said. Static answered first, then a tired voice crackled back. "Go ahead." "You got anyone near Platform 6 right now?" A pause. "Nah, why?" I kept staring at the figure on the monitor. "Think someone got trapped downstairs." The officer on the radio sighed. "Again?" "Just check it." "Copy." The radio clicked dead. I watched camera 14 without blinking. The figure never moved, not once. Then the screen glitched. Horizontal lines ripped across the image. The timestamp froze. 1:47:33. When the picture stabilized, the figure was gone. I immediately checked the adjacent camera feeds. Camera 12, empty corridor. Camera 9, empty stairwell. Camera 5 covering the maintenance access tunnel. Nothing. No movement anywhere. My pulse had started beating harder now. Not panic, not yet. Just that creeping feeling your brain gets right before instinct starts screaming something's wrong. 5 minutes later, Patrol Unit 2 radioed back in. "Control?" I grabbed the mic immediately. "Yeah?" Another pause. Longer this time. Then, "Platform 6 is empty." Something about the officer's voice sounded off, uneasy. I frowned. "You checked the maintenance gate?" "Yeah." "And?" Static crackled loudly through the speaker. Then, "That gate shouldn't exist." I sat upright slowly. "What?" More static. The numbering down here skips from platform 5 to the old southbound maintenance corridor. I stared at camera 14, at the sign hanging above the platform. 6 northbound. Cold fluorescent light buzzed softly above the empty station. Then the officer spoke again, quieter this time. There's no platform 6 on the station maps. I stopped trusting the live feeds after that. Maybe that sounds stupid, but once you watch a man stare directly into a security camera from footage that shouldn't even exist, something changes in your head. The control room didn't feel safe anymore. Every monitor started feeling like a window instead of a camera. By 3 a.m., I'd pulled every archived file tied to camera 14. The system only kept 30 days locally before automatic overwrite, but older recordings were backed up downtown at the Transit Authority servers. And suddenly I needed to know one thing. How long had this been happening? The first few nights looked identical. Same timestamp, same passengers, same woman in the yellow coat. Then I opened footage from 2 weeks earlier. The platform looked different, drier. One of the overhead lights near the tunnel flickered constantly, but the people were still there, walking the same path at the same time. And again, the man stopped and looked directly into the camera. My pulse jumped harder now every time it happened, like my body started anticipating it before my brain did. I kept going backward, 3 weeks, 4, then 6 months. That's when I found the first thing that actually made me feel sick. The footage quality changed. Older camera model, older timestamp overlay. But the passengers were still there, exactly the same. Same clothing, same faces, not older, not younger. Unchanged. The yellow coat, the umbrella, the headphones. All frozen in time. I leaned closer toward the monitor, barely breathing. Then I noticed someone new standing near the back of the platform. A transit officer. Old uniform style. Dark blue jacket with silver badge patches they stopped issuing years ago. He stood near the stairwell watching the passengers move past him, watching them the same way I was now. Then slowly, he looked up into camera 14. My stomach dropped, because I recognized him. Frank DeLuca, former overnight supervisor, retired 5 years ago. At least that's what everyone said. I immediately searched the employee database. His profile still existed. Status, deceased. Cause of death wasn't listed. I stared at the screen for a long time after that. Then another thought hit me. I opened internal incident reports tied to Platform 6. The search returned nothing. No maintenance logs, no inspections, no repair requests. Nothing. Like the platform had never officially existed. But that wasn't possible. I'd been watching it for hours. I could see it. The station signs, the tracks, the cameras. Unless... My eyes shifted slowly toward the old blueprint maps pinned beside the control desk. I stood up and crossed the room. The downtown station schematics were old, yellowed from years under fluorescent light. I traced my finger carefully across the underground layout. Platform 4, Platform 5, southbound maintenance corridor, emergency access tunnel. No Platform 6. Cold crept slowly through my chest. Then the radio crackled beside the desk, loud enough to make me jump. "Control?" Static hissed underneath the voice. I grabbed the mic immediately. "Yeah." Another burst of static. Then, "You still watching camera 14? It was Patrol Unit 2 again, but something sounded wrong. His voice sounded distant, echoing, like he wasn't calling from the station radio system anymore. I frowned. "Where are you?" No answer, just static. Then, "I found the stairs." Every muscle in my body tightened. "What stairs?" A long pause, then faintly, "The ones below the platform." The radio erupted into violent static. For half a second, I heard screaming underneath it, not loud, far away, like it was echoing up a tunnel. Then the transmission died completely. I tried calling him back immediately. Nothing. No response. I checked his tracker on the system map. The blinking blue dot showed him directly beneath Platform 6, 30 feet underground, in a section of tunnel that didn't exist on any transit map. Then the dot started moving deeper. I should have called this in. Transit police, city supervisors, anybody. Instead, I kept staring at the blinking tracker moving deeper beneath the station. Patrol Unit 2 was still down there, still moving. The blue dot crawled slowly through black space underneath the map grid like something tunneling underground. Then it stopped. I grabbed the radio again. Unit 2, respond. Static. Come back. Nothing. The control room suddenly felt suffocating. Every monitor hummed softly around me. Every empty platform looked darker than before. Then camera 14 flickered again. The platform returned, but this time, the train was there. My breath caught instantly. A subway train sat motionless beside Platform 6. No arrival alert, no track signal, no audio. Just a dark train resting silently at the station. The doors stood open, and people were stepping inside. The same passengers, yellow coat, white umbrella, headphones, walking calmly into the train one after another, like they'd done this 1,000 times before. Then I noticed someone else standing near the open doors. Patrol Unit 2. He stood perfectly still beside the train, facing the camera. His flashlight hung limp in one hand. I grabbed the desk microphone immediately. Unit 2! No response. On the monitor, he slowly lifted his head and looked directly into camera 14. My stomach turned cold because his face looked wrong, pale, expressionless, like he'd been standing underground for years. Then he raised one arm slowly and pointed toward the train. The feed exploded into static. That was the moment I made the worst decision of my life. I left the control room. The elevator ride down felt longer than normal. The entire station above ground had gone quiet. No passengers, no trains. Just fluorescent lights buzzing overhead while rainwater dripped somewhere deep inside the tunnels. My boots echoed through the empty concourse as I moved toward the northbound access corridor. Platform 4, Platform 5. Then the maintenance hallway beyond them. According to every map in the station, that was where the tunnels ended. But halfway down the corridor, I noticed something I'd somehow missed before. Another stairwell. Narrow concrete steps descending beneath the station. No signage, no maintenance markings, just darkness. Cold air drifted upward from below. My radio crackled softly at my shoulder. Then a voice whispered through the speaker. Control. I froze. It was Unit 2. Weak, distant. Please. Static swallowed the rest. I aimed my flashlight downward. The beam disappeared into darkness. For a second, every instinct in my body screamed at me to turn around, go back upstairs, pretend none of this existed. Then I noticed the walls. Old subway tiles lined the stairwell, covered in grime and water stains. And mounted beside the stairs, an old metal sign barely visible beneath decades of dust. Platform 6. My pulse hammered violently now. I started down. Each step echoed strangely, not like concrete, like the tunnel beneath me was hollow. The deeper I went, the older the station became. Modern tile turned into cracked white brick. Rust coated the pipes overhead. Ancient fluorescent lights buzzed weakly above me, flickering just enough to leave parts of the stairwell in darkness. Then I reached the bottom. The tunnel opened into a platform, a real one, massive, far larger than any active station upstairs. The air smelled damp, rotten, like standing water trapped underground for decades. Old transit posters peeled from the walls, dust covered the benches. But the tracks looked polished, used. My flashlight swept slowly across the station and stopped. People stood along the platform, dozens of them, motionless, facing the tracks. The woman in the yellow coat stood closest to the edge, black bag hanging at her side. Passengers from the recording surrounded her in complete silence. None of them moved. None of them blinked. Then slowly, all of them turned toward me at once. Nobody spoke. The entire underground platform stood frozen in silence while dozens of pale passengers stared directly at me, not blinking, not moving, just watching. My flashlight trembled slightly in my hand as the beam passed across their faces. Some looked normal at first glance, office workers, students, transit employees. But the longer I looked, the more wrong they became. Skin too pale, eyes dull and unfocused, clothes soaked like they'd stepped out of black water. And every single one of them looked exhausted, like they'd been standing here for a very long time. The woman in the yellow coat tilted her head slightly toward me. Then, somewhere deep inside the tunnel, I heard a train approaching. Low metal thunder echoed through the underground station. The tracks began vibrating beneath my boots. A wind rushed through the darkness ahead, and the passengers slowly turned back toward the rails, waiting. My radio exploded with static at my shoulder. Then a voice whispered through it. Not Patrol Unit 2, not dispatch. My own voice. Don't let it stop. Ice flooded my chest. The tunnel lights flickered once, twice. Then the train emerged from darkness. Ancient subway cars rolled slowly into the station. Their metal sides were rusted black. Windows fogged from the inside. No route numbers, no markings, just darkness moving through the station. The brakes screamed as the train stopped beside the platform. Its doors slid open immediately. Inside, more passengers stood silently beneath dim fluorescent lights, rows of pale faces staring outward, waiting. Then I saw him, Patrol Unit 2, standing inside the nearest subway car. Expression blank, skin pale. He slowly lifted one shaking hand toward me, like he was trying to warn me away. But behind him, other passengers started turning their heads toward me. Too fast, too sudden, their movements jerking unnaturally beneath the flickering lights. Then every monitor inside the train turned on at once. Dozens of old surveillance screens mounted along the ceiling. Every screen showed camera 14, and every screen showed me standing on the platform. A live feed. My stomach dropped, because on the monitors, something was standing behind me. Tall, dark, human-shaped, its face hidden in shadow. I spun around instantly. Nothing there. But when I looked back at the train, the thing on the monitors was closer now, standing directly behind me. The passengers inside the train began smiling. Not normal smiles. Wide, strained, like their faces barely remembered how. Then the overhead station speakers crackled to life. A distorted announcement echoed through the platform. Final boarding for Platform 6. The passengers outside began stepping toward the train, one after another. Slowly, mechanically. The woman in the yellow coat stopped beside me as she passed. For the first time, I saw her face clearly, and my blood turned cold. because it wasn't a stranger. It was the woman reported missing from camera 14 7 years earlier. I remembered the case immediately. Transit disappearance, never solved. I'd read the file myself during training. She looked exactly the same now as she had in the report photo. Not aged a single day. Then she leaned close enough for me to hear her whisper, "You weren't supposed to find the stairs." The lights overhead burst violently. Darkness swallowed the station. Screaming erupted inside the train, not loud, hundreds of voices all whispering at once. My flashlight beam shook wildly through the dark. Faces moved everywhere around me now. Passengers standing inches away, watching, reaching. And somewhere behind me, heavy footsteps started moving across the platform. Slow, deliberate, coming closer. The monitors inside the train flickered one final time, and on every screen, camera 14 showed the empty platform upstairs. Except for one thing. A lone transit officer standing motionless beneath the fluorescent lights, watching directly into the camera, wearing my uniform. Then something grabbed my shoulder from the darkness, and the train doors slammed shut. The last thing I heard before the train disappeared back into the tunnel was my own voice echoing through the station speakers. Camera 14 remains active. That's the end of tonight's incident report. But honestly, if I ever disappeared in a subway station after midnight, I don't think anyone would know where to start looking. And somewhere beneath this city, maybe Platform 6 is still waiting for the next train to arrive. So if you made it this far, let me know down in the comments. Would you go down those stairs? And if you enjoyed tonight's story and want more dark subway horror, creepy night shift stories, and disturbing incident reports just like this, make sure to subscribe to Campfire Horror Stories, because the next shift starts soon. And trust me, there are still cameras we haven't checked yet.